and then Bozo Bunch against PPL. But nevertheless, both of these teams are kind of in the middle of the pack right now in terms of the standings. And so the big prize on the table today is that the winner will have a route forward to the winner's side of playoffs. So a lot at stake here, but both of these teams are vying for that final spot.
Yeah, and are we seeing things correctly here? Streak on the Rasmus midfield. The last time this was picked, I believe it was by Cardbox in Cosmic Calamity's bid last season to try and make it the playoffs. The team that denied them was the Bozo Bunch, who made it instead. It's kind of a little strange here, but as Dropletto goes down, and so does the enemy brawler, 3Z Breezy, one of the people responsible for this patch, feeling the effects of it as the first goal is scored.
Yeah, the Rasmus midfield is interesting. I think Rasmus in general is a bit of a risky pick this patch, unless you're running him as goalie, because he did have his stagger nerfed not that many patches ago, and with so much damage on the table right now, having low stagger feels pretty awful unless you're someone like Zentaro who can dish out so many hits that you can just heal right through it. Rasmus doesn't really have that, but we'll see how Streak is able to handle it. They are at a 1-point deficit currently, but both teams holding on to their barriers. Maybe not for much longer, though, as Merchant is staggered in his own net.
Oh, that's looking like a very killable Luna right now. 3Z Breezy setting up, but the elusives there just in time. Merchant now unstaggered, survives, and Gravel is on the chopping block, but that barrier is looking scarily low here. Shapeshifting pushing up to the midfield line to put on the pressure. The triple take reinforces it as Drop stuck in the corner still trying to get his way out. A missed strike, a dangerous bounce, but still able to escape are the Bozo Bunch, but it's not a good game state for them.
Yeah, a smart bit of multitasking there by Merchant, using the boost to get up to the midfield line and collect that orb, but there's that low stagger Rasmus getting taken out by the Oni's Blade. It's a power play for the side of soondubu, but oh my gosh, barely doesn't get the barrier there, but that was terrifying for them. Streak now back on the table, Dropletto having a flip here. Of course, they are still at the barrier disadvantage, passing in the midfield between 3Z and Grimella. Unable to get it through. The X Maximus popped. That is a rare move for Dropletto, popping X Maximus on his own side of the field. And he's staggered here with Flip. 3Z coming in for the kill.
Flips away to survive, but that's Dropletto. No resources, bouncing to the other side of the world and still surviving in his net, perfectly positioned for the defense there. Finally gets taken out, but Bozo Bunch still surviving for a little bit longer. And with an open net behind them, there's a Merchant with the boost. Finds the goal in an impossible situation for Bozo.
Yeah, wow, that's about as clutch as you can get. Was that the stun from the boost, securing that? Stunning shape-shifting from being able to strike that?
Yep, it absolutely was. I feel like there definitely were ways to beat that, but if shape-shifting had stepped up, then it would have been easier for Merchant to get a strike on the core. And yeah, just a difficult situation for shape-shifting to be, but a miraculous boost coming out for Merchant.
Yeah, for sure. I will say, Streak actually has not had too much concern over his life for most of this game so far. It seems like if there's any damage being dished out by DUBU, it's onto Merchant and Dropletto. So Streak has been relatively free to roam in the midfield, but without this speed and without a blink like this Aimee and Zentaro has, it's really easy for soondubu to just pass around him, get a point up right there.
Yep, that's a big point here. 2-1 at the moment in the favor of the soondubu strikers, and we're seeing the power of the damage on their side. They have a lot of hits. They have the Finny debuff, and combined with the Siphoning Wand that is the current meta, the health bars are being shredded. You said Streak wasn't the focus, but at this point, so the soondubu strikers are thinking of something different here, as Streak is at half health, has to flip, but is in a bit of danger, I gotta say.
Yeah, this is Cannon Bite Breakers lore, but that being said, we have 3 flips here in front of soondubu's net, 2 of them being burned right there. The Bull Rush coming in, and even though they don't get the goal, shape-shifting in 3Z, and even Grimella is not doing so hot in the stagger department, but they managed to pass the core around right there. Dropletto, now the one that's staggered. And actually, all of soondubu pretty much healed up on the other side of that push. And Dropletto cannot position favorably here due to his staggered state. Almost gets taken out there, but manages to hang on. Streak working here with the Whiplash. 3Z and Grimella just continuing to pump out this damage. It is non-stop pressure, but the boost! Merchant just keeps finding these small little cracks. I mean, he is not using that ability unless it is to secure a pivotal shift in momentum for the Bozo bunch. Well played.
Yeah, those boosts are so feast or famine, but Merchant's feasting at the moment here. Finding consistency as Dropletto almost gets taken out. That was a dangerous angle as well, but Merchant still maintaining 2 barriers despite a scary soondubu offense, and Bozo bunch now, the ones pushing forward. Merchant taps it forward, and Dropletto finishes it off with the X Maximus. It looked really difficult for Bozo in this first set, but they come out on top.
Yeah, they had 2... I mean, I would say all 3 of those goals just came from, you know, impressive little single moments of glory there. 2 of those in particular were concocted by Merchant. A well-deserved set MVP for him will secure bulk up, which means more power for him and a little less survivability for the side of soondubu, but they're not too upset. That's peak performance on 3Z and Prizefighter on Grimella, easily the 2 other kind of big-ticket items on the table for this draft, which means that Glass Cannon and Hotshot are the consolation prizes for Streak and Dropletto. Not really what you want to see after winning a set. I mean, certainly they're not bad awakenings, but when the enemy forwards got the scaling power in the form of Prizefighter on Grimella, as well as extra survivability and speed on 3Z, it's not the way that Bozo Bunch would have loved to see that draft go.
Yeah, those picks kind of suck for Bozo Bunch. I'm going to be honest, right? They win the set, but your X gets hot shot. Like, that was the best choice available to him. But maybe he doesn't need it. Maybe Dropletto is doing what X does regardless here. A perfect pass from Streak, perfectly intercepted by Grimella. This damage is overwhelming, but right now Dropletto is still surviving despite being staggered on the other side of the map here. And if they can't kill Dropletto fast enough, he's just going to get another X Maximus and continue putting on the offense.
Eventually, though, he will get taken out, and that is the first extra Prizefighter stack for Grimella. This Aimi is only going to get more deadly from here on out, and we're only on the first point of set 2. Merchant comes in for another boost, but this time Shapeshifting is ready with the misdirection, and 3Z will catch that barrier on the come around. But it is going to cost him almost his entire stagger bar. Thread the needle find there from Dropletto will give Streak a little opportunity, but once more, Shapeshifting clears it away. This team player now in overtime, giving both of these teams plenty of core speed to find their brawlers as many scoring opportunities as possible. Merchant walking up to the midfield with core flip, but now his brawler is dead. It's going to be a matter of clutchness here. The flip comes out on the goal line, forced out by the Firewall Sentry. Grimella now has a flip here. It gets hooked away by Streak. The flip is burnt on essentially nothing, but does mean that Streak is a little worse for wear in the stagger department here. Merchant once more catching it on the back line. It slips away, but 3Z goes for a scoring attempt. Not found. The flips are just being traded non-stop back and forth by both of these teams, but no progress is being found. But the blink there, Cyber Swipe from Grimella will find point 1. And with 1 Prizefighter stack up, that's about as good as the soondubu strikers can ask for.
Just a tiny moment of impatience there from Merchant. Tries to create forward progress a little bit too quickly. But there's the combo on kickoff. They take out Grimella. They punish the lack of energy from the previous point here. But can they capitalize is the question. A flip on Shape, a flip on 3Z. The defense is going to be trivial for soondubu, but the corner offense is starting up. The Bozo Bunch special. They're getting it done with 1 barrier taken. They make something out of the power play, but more importantly, Shapeshifting is incredibly low here. If Drop could find enough damage, find enough progress onto the goalie, that would be huge, but he's the one in trouble as well.
Yeah, the fascinating thing about this is that he probably would have lived if he didn't have core flip. This is, in this meta in particular, I almost think that there's an interesting strategy behind intentionally not getting core flip, because that evade is so valuable to prevent the enemy team from snowballing off of these power plays. Like, Dropletto just had to burn all of his evade just to stay alive right here, and now he's staggered with no evade to follow up on it with. And if he had core flip, he would have been dead long, long ago. But Merchant is going to pick up core flip here, immediately gets kit dumped by Grimella on the other side, but it goes wide! Merchant once more finding some wacky angle from across the map. This dude is putting all of the hopes of the Bozo Bunch on his back right now. Rocking level 8, by the way.
And a lot of that is shapeshifting choice of gear too, right? The Strike Shot Fini does give a little bit more reach on the ability, but that lack of momentum boots is kind of coming into play. Momentum boots, as Brett said on the pre-show, feels especially good when everyone is relatively low speed, right? And having that not having that speed advantage and not being able to catch up with the fast core is kind of hurting in a lot of these situations where you have to play against Merchant, where the Strike Shot can't really get the angle you want. And right now, the Bozo Bunch, they're still in a good spot here if they can take out Grimella, but Drop has to be careful as well. A good usage of the evade and healing up with the Siphoning Wand. Droplet is getting so much healing right now, hitting all 3 members and the barrier as well. As the boost comes in, Merchant trying to take the goal all the way here, but they have to worry about their barrier as well as it falls.
Yeah, now both barriers cracked open. A clutch grab of the orb there from Grimella will ensure that he stays alive as Merchant's nuke drops there. Grimella narrowly avoiding death. Dropletto knocking on death's door, but 3Z scoring the goal there, not even having to spin the flip, will ensure that the members of Bozo Bunch stay alive, but also a point down.
That's 2 for 2 drop on those crazy angles, surviving somehow. It's quite the spectacle. Might make into a YouTube short later. But right now, it's all soondubu strikers. Good defense by Bozo Bunch, but in the process, they take way too much chip damage from the Zentaro of 3Z, from the Aimi of Grimella. They do find the defense. They do maintain 1 barrier for the moment, but that one's also not long for this world as 3Z finishes off the set for the soondubu strikers. The lack of good picks in the last draft make it a rough second set for the Bozo Bunch.
Yeah, if you group up against those AoE abilities that Aimi and Zentaro have, your stagger is not going to last long, and it's going to last even less long after this draft. We've got Adrenaline Rush. We have Spark here in this draft as well. Of course, the Ad Rush is a little too good to pass up, even with 3Z having that Spark start. Does mean that Merchant gets Deadeye here, though. Massive, massive boost to that Luna goalie, who has once more been essentially the saving grace of the Bozo Bunch. We get Size on Streak, going to give him a little bit more presence in the midfield. And that second Spark floats all the way back to Dropletto. Actually a pretty massive boon for the Bozo Bunch. I feel like that is about as good of a draft as they could have asked for. Of course, the main danger here, and the one reason that this is not a good draft for them, to go back on what I just said, is 3Z has Adrenaline Rush. This Zentaro is about to be zooming all over the place every time he gets a kill. And with the damage that soondubu has, these kills are going to be coming out left, right, and center.
And even if you don't account for the kill part, 1.5 seconds of flat cooldown reduction is a little ridiculous. Not so sure.
Oh, absolutely.
About that change.
Especially on Zen.
Yeah, really low cooldowns as well on that character. And, well, 3Z going to be the beneficiary of this patch's changes at the moment here. We're still rocketing past, but Bozo still taking way too much chip damage to keep this point afloat. If the soondubu strikers can just play methodically, this point is as good as over with 3Z with the resources. Trying to go for the KO on Streak, spends the flip on it, and gets the Adrenaline Rush proc, but here's Dropletto stalling for a little bit. 3Z, no flick, but there's the KO on the goalie, and soondubu strikers looking good once again.
Yeah, it's hard to look bad, right? This is a fast Zentaro to begin with Spark of Agility and Peak Performance. Putting him at 513 speed, is tied with Streak for the fastest based speed in this game. But when he pops that Ad Rush, he gets an extra 40% speed on top of that for a whole 7 seconds. So, I mean, it's an absolute menace. Zentaro has so much damage, is so fast to begin with. This 3Z guy can be anywhere that he wants, hit anybody that he wants. He is officially the server admin, as was bestowed upon him by Aesop.
It's such low-hanging fruit, right, in this match. But right now, Bozo Bunch It looked impossible for them in the first 2 points, but they take 2 berries in an instant once again on a long shot play from Merchant. And now Drops pushing forward, almost glitch popped that away. This time the drum saving him for the 3rd time in this game. There's the primary though in 3s. He returns the favor in kind. Looking for the play now is Merchant and Drop desperately trying to get a passing play going, but there's no lanes opening up. A huge KO by Merchant though, and Drop with a shot from the midfield. Merchant off the center drum, a crazy bounce, and Grimella just flying across the map.
Yeah, taking advantage of both 3Z and Grimella needling in way too hard on these kills, right? Even though, yes, killing has certainly become a much more prevalent objective in this patch, you got somebody like Merchant who can sit on the back line and, you know, take the fact that both of the enemy forwards are entirely focusing on damaging yours. It opens up a lot of opportunities for Merchant to just make plays and completely change the tide of the match. Because at the end of the day, this is a game that's won by scoring goals. Killing makes scoring goals easier, but if you score the goals before your team gets killed, it doesn't really matter. That being said, Dropletto is gone again.
And that was a great save by Merchant earlier on this point, but we can see the health bars dwindling, the siphoning wand doing its work at the moment. A good flip out, but the big finish limits the clear angles, and there's a barrier falling as well. The Bozo bunch in a lot of trouble at the moment. Streak needs to be a self-sufficient character here, really. The Rasmus not really doing midfieldy things, it feels like, in this game. Not really connecting with the team, and with the lack of flip usage there, it's going to be another set for the soondubu strikers.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for Bozo Bunch to pull another miracle out of this one, especially with 3Z getting another set MVP here. And he has his pick of the litter. He could take a second spark here. He could take heavy impact. He could take extra special for more kill confirms and denying Merchant, which is exactly the route that he's going to go down. Merchant has the prime time, also could have gone for the specialized training, but I think those rockets have been a little too valuable. And also, you don't want to give shape-shifting more cards to make it even harder to score on this team than it already is. Nothing else too impressive in the draft. Dropletto does get specialized training, so maybe those X punches will hurt so much that he can find a couple kills that Bozo wasn't getting before. But it's going to be hard. I mean, look at this kickoff from Soondubu. It's so oppressive right off the bat. They have both barriers down at 10 seconds.
The Rasmus really not feeling like the pick here, but maybe they can create some magic if they can KO Grimella. Dangerous spot to be in for a streak, though, as 3Z Breezy putting on the damage here. And that's Intaro. So many cooldowns to be used. They get it past Shape, but 3Z's there to defend. The goalie and midfielder swap in places as Streak is just completely taken off the map here. Merchant and Drop left to defend. It's going to be difficult against the flip of 3Z Breezy, and if Merchant isn't careful, Grimella's there as well with the cyber swipe. 2 more points for soondubu strikers to win this game. It's looking very doable. They really just have locked in on this comp, on this patch.
Yeah, Streak and Dropletto have been so far removed from this game, both by nature of, you know, being dead, as well as just being able to, like, be staggered and not be able to engage with the play. Oh, wow, they trade there. Grimella gone, but also Streak gone. But yeah, all 3 members of Soondubu rocking level 10. Meanwhile, it's just Merchant who's at level 10 for the side of Bozo Bunch. It's a hard life. It's a hard life. And Merchant is once more just being stunned to hell in the goal box. That'll be a match point for Soondubu.
Difficult situation here for the Bozo Bunch. They do have flip coming up for Merchant if they can create a big play like they did in the past, but right now 3Z Breezy's making good use of how shapeshifting's pushing up to the midfield so often. It got punished earlier, but he has locked in, and it's looking dominant. Another ad rush proc. Drop trying desperately to block it off here, and Merchant with some miracle strikes, but finally a strike war from 3Z and the net opens up. All it takes is 1 forward goal to close out this game, and Dioni's Blade gonna nullify the flip. Shapeshifting completely just controlling the midfield line at the moment, and as it gets sent to Grimella, he pushes forward, and they're chipping away at Merchant's health bar here. When they take out the goalie, Bozo Bunch are gonna be on a timer, and right now it's looking quite finite.
Yeah, 3Z being fearless here, even with no evade to his name. He is continuing to just hit, and Merchant is sent to the other side of the map. And although, hold on, KO's traded. KO's traded here. Dropletto and Streak left to defend on their own. The big finish is pretty scary there, but they managed to find a way out of it. 3Z is the one to return first, but Merchant is close to follow. Everybody's back now. Merchant boosting in, finds a way to get the core to Dropletto, who quickly finds that final barrier. Strike shot will save it. Dropletto can't find that shot against Shapeshifting. The Oni's Blade comes out. Firewall Sentry, Merchant and Streak narrowly plucking it out of the goal box there. Once more, it's rotated back around. That big finish already back up. Sent down to Streak, who gets glitch popped off of it by Grimella. Cyber swiping in once more. The boost! Merchant, my word!
Wow, what an incredible boost, what an incredible angle off the corner of the edge of the goal. The BOZO bunch, they find a miracle once again here, but it's not going to be easy. We saw at that point, they were on the brink of being KO'd. Their health bar is dwindling. They're on a very, very low timer, and they need to avoid this horsepower coming out from the side of the soondubu strikers.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I'm going to say it right now. I hope I don't caster's curse them, but I'm a believer. We've seen Bozo Bunch pull off enough miracles in this match. Oh, it's going to take one heck of a miracle, though. That's an ad rush proc and a power play for soondubu. Dropletto, dribble Dropletto, go, go. The 3Z and Grimella closing in on the goal like sharks. They still have a barrier. The boost! The boost!
Merchant does it once again, but 3Z's in position, and 3Z will shut the door on the Bozo Bunch dream in this first game here. It was almost brilliant from Merchant, but the Rasmus midfield pick, it was just not it.
Yeah, Streak was really struggling to influence the midfield that game. Seemed mostly confined to a defensive role, which is really hard because X requires a lot of support on offense, right? So Dropletto was kind of left on the other side, and the only offensive support he was getting was Merchant dashing in. And you know what? It got Bozo Bunch a few miracle goals, but at the end of the day, this was Cannon Bite Breakers being run with some absolutely insane awakenings by the soondubu strikers, and they were able to so consistently crank out 14 KOs over the course of that match. And that'll bring us to a swift Game 1 closer.
Merchant almost solo carried that game. Let's be clear, right?
Yeah.
He was the goalie, the midfield, and the scorer. But it wasn't enough. 109 saves, 230 redirects, the highest stat line in the lobby. It is a shame, but this is truly a game that was decided in the draft.
Yeah, but we have maybe two games. We have at least one more game for Bozo Bunch to give us a draft more worthy of competing with what soondubu is pumping out here, right? What map is it that we're headed to next, Saya?
I can pull that up right now. I have to look around what I'm using as my webcam right now to get it up, but we're looking at Night Market into wow, this is so boring. Okay, but Night Market has been very, very interesting in this patch because the speed gate is even more centralizing in a meta where you're disincentivized to go with speed gear, and also the lack of momentum boots also plays into that dynamic as well because magnetized souls, because you also don't have that boost when going for the center, so it's not the double boost, but it's still a lot of relative speed compared to the rest of the lobby. And if there's a goalie out there picking momentum boots, that is also huge as well, but I don't think that we're going to see that from Merchant or Shape, because Shape is too much of a strike shot fan, and because Merchant plays eject goalies usually.
Yeah, and with less speed to go around, the other thing that happens with the speed gate is you have to be a little more proactive in competing for the speed gate, right? Which is a tough thing to do because you're, spending time in the middle of the field, which is a fantastic place to be, but you might sacrifice, other plays that you have to control that speed gate, and simultaneously the speed gate might enable you to make more plays. So it's an interesting little sort of rock, paper, scissors setup where you definitely want to be vying over control of that speed gate, but you also want to be prepared to capitalize on what's happening on the field, which the speed gate can also help you do, right? So Night Market, I agree. Fascinating map this patch. Probably one of the more interesting ones, especially because you're kind of throwing everybody into a tiny little box and trying to blow one another up as fast as possible, which is not altogether unique to Night Market, but certainly the speed gate acts as a catalyst for it, right?
Yeah, so that is definitely the case here. Oh, we'll see. We'll see how it goes in this game. The picks are coming in. Zentaro ban,
No
Finny
Zen, no
ban as
Finny.
well. And soondubu Strikers first picking the Vice, get it away from Merchant. And on this cast to last bulk up start, I wonder what BOZO are thinking, because this is a pretty dangerous place to be in the draft with that Vice locked in first pick.
Yeah, the Vice, especially on yeah, it's surely it's going to be 6 bulk ups all the way around, right? There's nobody here that's going to want cast to last more than that incredibly valuable stagger with the additional damage put on top of it. And yeah, Vice, I mean, once more, Night Market is a pretty small, cramped map. There's going to be so much value pulled off of that Chain Lightning, as well as those ultimate abilities. They're almost certainly going to be multitasking, both putting the core forward in advantageous positions, as well as shredding the stagger of the enemy team, especially if you put that on one of your forwards, where you have the Siphoning Wand procs coming off of all of those Vice multi-hits. We're looking at Vice, Aimi, Kazan for the side of soondubu, and Drakkar X Luna for Bozo Bunch. How you feeling about those comps, Saya?
I like this BOZO Bunch comp a lot more than the previous one. They can
Me too.
actually... it's still not great on the whole like control aspect, but it has a lot more damage with the Drakkar, and also the burst speed helps a lot in setting up immediate plays for the X, and drops one of the better brawlers at keeping the core contained once he gets it. It's just that he didn't really get it last game.
Yeah. And I'm willing to bet that on the soondubu side of things, this is almost certainly going to be a Vambrace Kazan, yeah? Um I I I don't think siphoning Kazan is necessarily a super viable pick. I don't think he generates enough healing to make it worthwhile. You need the Vambrace to give yourself that little bit of extra edge. And his role on a team is usually not as a damage dealer anyways. He's primarily preventing healing, and more critically, if you have your goalie and your midfielder playing Aimi and Vice, and they're putting out plenty of damage, Kazan has a million different kill confirms. So while I do love the Bozo Bunch comp, I think they're absolutely going to be dishing out a lot of damage. I think that this soondubu comp is deadly. I think that they very easily have the chance to just snowball this all the way to the end and close out the series early.
Yeah, what I'm concerned about though is why didn't BOZO Bunch pick this comp last game? They could
That's a
have.
fantastic question.
They really just could have. But they didn't, and so we'll see how it goes here. Into the game, it looks like they have put Breezy Breezy in the goalie slot. How fun that they're remaking. Okay, but that means we have more time to talk. So I guess yeah, you asked me about the comp. I like Bozo Bunch's comp more than soondubu's comp this game. But the real
Really? Yeah, you like
yeah,
that one
I like it
better?
a lot more. The one pick really changed the comp. Drakkar over Rasmus midfield for sure, especially on Night Market.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other end, soondubu Strikers, they also have the capability to put on the damage. But my worry is that Streak will just get in there and press shotgun.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that if Bozo Bunch can manage to keep the core contained, which notably Dropletto is usually very good at doing on offense. He's very good at keeping the core in one place, especially on his signature X pick. I think that Streak is just going to repeatedly be able to dish out damage for free while they continue to put pressure on barriers, and eventually someone's going to die to that. But we'll see. We'll see how consistently they're able to get those opportunities. I'm intrigued to see how this game 2 is going to play out.
Yep, we're loading into the game right now here. And how many siphoning wands? Can you count?
It's more than one. I think it's more than two as well. I think we're looking at 4 siphoning wands there, Saya.
How?
Breezy Breezy did not go for Vambrace, and I think he might live to regret it, or he might die to regret it, actually.
It's a damage race onto the Brawlers. Drop and 3Z both just being completely targeted here. But with Streak, having a pick that can midfield a little bit more, I think it's looking good for BOZO as he opened up the barriers first.
Oh yeah, certainly. Yeah, early barrier lead, and 3Z is still at level 1 here, being CC'd away by that Molten Bolt. But the barriers are traded there. Shapeshifting coming up, dropping down to Visalt to find that second barrier. So 3Z didn't die, neither did Dropletto, but he gets a strike war against Shapeshifting. That'll be point 1 for the BOZO bunch.
And I do really like them on this map as well, right? The comps both with a better midfielder and with a better map for it, it feels like. Kickoff, a lot more control on BOZO's side as well, but with one barrier going down, we gotta watch out for shapeshifting, I think. The main factor in this game. Needs to put on the damage as Vice needs to be able to defend good enough on Vice, but right now, it's not looking like enough as Dropletto just finishes off the KO so quickly, and Merchant will flip it away, but Grumella, what an interception. The goal ends up going in regardless, but it was a valiant attempt, but we're really seeing why this BOZO bunch comp is activated here.
Yeah, that is one thing that's interesting. Well, I don't know that interesting is the right word to use. Unique about this patch. This is perhaps the most Oki viable patch in the history of Omega Strikers, because Brawlers are dishing out more damage than ever. There's less survivability than ever in the Awakening table. And there is only Pauldrons for goalies to mitigate damage in terms of gear selection, whereas there's all sorts of ways to mitigate damage and to heal yourself as a forward. So I get the feeling that Dropletto is going to be KOing Shapeshifting quite a bit this game. And they do manage to even up the barriers here, but Grumella is dead for another couple seconds.
The Streak setting up for Dropletto. Breezy Breezy also mostly taken out of the play here. Merchant, that's a risky clear, but it pans out just well enough here. Still a dangerous spot, but Streak gets it away. The Molten Bolt tags Grumella, and the midfield's being controlled by the Drakkar at the moment. Lock and load to Dropletto. They can't get a clean shot at it as a flip comes out from Shapeshifting. Almost sends it across the map for a goal, but there's Merchant sending it around the world, around to Dropletto, who's dribbling it forward. Not quite enough for the goal itself, but Streak has control. And Merchant to Streak, a lot of core speed coming out around the world, and Streak still there. So much presence on this Drakkar in the lanes at the moment, with Dropletto and 3Z this time to the bottom side, forcing the boost out of Merchant and punishing the dash forward. 3Z gets it done here. That's a point for the soondubu Strikers, but it's still a dangerous set for them.
Yeah, Merchant didn't have anything to respond to that on the other side. Just a few too many times going back to Grumella and 3Z. But I do want to point out another reason that I actually absolutely love this BOZO comp. I love it more than initially we were even talking about, is that this is, double melee on the forwards, which normally you would be worried about a more mobile comp like soondubu's just rotating the core around both of your forwards and causing problems, right? But the thing is, as they get this power play here, Streak and Dropletto get to stack up here on one side. And if the core gets rotated down, Merchant has this Luna Dash. Here he comes, going down for that barrier. And that is a fantastic burst of pressure that they can put out essentially every single point. You saw it happen last point, even though they didn't score it. At this point, with 2 barriers up to their name, I think BOZO Bunch are looking quite strong.
Flip away. Streak's got to keep full control here to stall out the respawn, and he does so for a little bit here. It keeps getting sent to Streak, and he keeps making it just stuck in the midfield here. And Dropletto comes back right on time to make sure 0 barriers are dropped for the BOZO Bunch. Finally, one goes down, and they got to be careful not to drop both here. As Dropletto continuing to try and help out, but that's 2 barriers gone. That's 3Z with the lingering hook hitbox, and BOZO just didn't convert on that point. They just didn't get too much out of the power play.
Yeah, Dropletto getting KO'd there was the big turning point, right? There was massive momentum gained on the power play from soondubu. Even though they didn't get any barriers, they were whittling down the ability banks of both Merchant and Streak, and they didn't have anything by the time Dropletto was back alive, so the barriers were only a matter of time before they followed. Shapeshifting stays up here, has the flip, grabs it with the supernova. Well played. That will secure set 1 for soondubu. But certainly, we saw both of those teams put on quite a show that set. BOZO Bunch are still looking quite strong and have plenty of time to bring this one back.
Yeah, but this draft's a little awkward for them. There's still good awakenings for them, unlike the first set of the previous game, but Deadeye being denied here away from the Luna, and then 1-2 Punch also falling, is a little rough, as Prizefighter's also on the board, right? But that 1-2 Punch going to Kazan instead of the team of BOZO, and just getting Deadeye 1-2 on 2 of your damage members here, along with Explosive Entrance that's so comfortable on the IME, their draft is looking quite good, I gotta say, and they have a very good chance to just try and win the damage race, especially if they can erase that Prizefighter early.
Yeah, that being said, Dropletto getting that first spark. At first, I was a little bit quizzical of it, but actually, I think it means that guaranteed any drafts moving forward, because BOZO Bunch are guaranteed at least one more draft, Dropletto is going to be undeniable, because he's got 3 other sparks that can show up. Oh my gosh, Streak gets KO'd invisible by Shapeshifting's Vice Primary there, and that is going to be a nail in the coffin, most likely.
1 second left till the respawn. Merchant with a miracle strike war has been very on point with the strike so far, but still an open net at the Luna's back. Shapeshifting sending it around Streak, forcing out the evades. The Rocket to follow up, and Dropletto gets it past. Big breakaway for Dropletto, but can't keep up the possession. Interrupted by Grimella, who goes in for the goal with the Cyber Swipe. Dropletto being taken low at the moment the Crater comes out. A huge burst of damage right past Shapeshifting, but the bounce does not score the goal just yet. Streak needs to make the difference here, and the lock and load just intercepted by 2. Merchant rotating the core around the entire world. It goes to Dropletto, but not to Dropletto enough, it feels like. But Streak buffers the lock and load past the topspin. What a shotgun from Streak across the map.
Yeah, very smart there. And even though he did lose his 1 Prizefighter stack from that point, I think the BOZO Bunch are just happy to be up a point here after that point almost going so terribly. Wow, what a save there from Grimella. Nice strike war on the boost. But Dropletto once more looking worse for wear in the stagger department. Likely will get KO'd here. Staggered and then confirmed by 3Z. And this is almost 3 flips on the side of soondubu, so they're likely going to come back with a vengeance here, tie up the set.
Wait a second. They have to spend multiple flips, and they don't even get a barrier, right? 2 flips gone. Still a barrier remaining, and Merchant pushing forward, forcing out the last flip. It does take the barrier, but that's so much energy loss. They definitely could have won that point in a different universe without using any of that, and despite continuing the power play, they still haven't scored the goal here. It's looking inevitable, but with Dropletto dropping back to help defend, and 3Z Breezy in position, a good hit stun by Grimella will make sure the boost can't get out in time, and the soondubu strikers do score in the end, but that energy advantage is right back down to equal.
Yeah, that was an expensive point for them, and none of them have energy to start off this point. So Merchant gets a little bit of free chip damage right here at the start, with none of them having evade to respond. That being said, Streak is being beat up right now, has no evade of his own. I think it's almost not worth remarking on who's getting beat up, because everyone's getting beat up at all times. But that being said, the BOZO Bunch forwards are significantly closer to death than everyone else here, except maybe 3Z Breezy, because Kazan has no stagger.
Oh, Merchant with a self-pass forward, gets the barrier, and Dropletto tries to follow up here, but the strike wars are being won by Grimella. Dropletto putting on the damage, though, and Grimella 1 hit away from death. 1 hit away, though, has not been enough so far this game. Merchant with a fancy dribble, not quite, and they can't confirm the KO onto Grimella. The IME stays alive still, and Grimella's in a perfect spot to try and put on some pressure. It's such a dangerous position for BOZO Bunch to be in, but 3Z can't catch the core just yet. There's the supernova, and there's 3Z, who mixes it up completely with the strike downwards. Merchant not ready, and soondubu, even when behind, they find these little edges.
Yeah, that is one thing about the Bozo Bunch comp is that the kill confirm potential is really hard. I would say that Streak is probably in the best position to confirm kills. But you might not even need kill confirms if you can get 8-second double barriers like that. That being said, it's only 15 seconds before soondubu claps back with 2 barriers of their own, and with Streak breathing his last breath right now as Grimella swipes in, that's another set for soondubu, just one away from ending this series early and sending the Bozo Bunch packing, likely into loser's bracket of playoffs.
If Bozo lose here, their playoff dreams are not dashed, but they get a lot scarier. There are 3 teams currently at 3 and 4, and slipping into that 3 and 4 bracket is not what you want here with the extra special going on shapeshifting as well. Denied away from the Luna. Hotshot, a pretty decent compensation as well as the spec training here, but it's going to be difficult for Bozo to really mount their comeback.
Yeah, there's nothing pivotal picked up here, especially very smart deny of the spark from Grimella, as, you know, possibly the one chance at snowballing back was, you know, giving Dropletto some spark scaling there. He does get the spec training, but it means that there is nothing left at the back of the draft for Streak, and Streak's prize fighter stack has already been removed here, even with the traded KOs. Bozo Bunch still not looking good as both of their barriers go down.
Oh, and Grimella has possession, tries to mix up Merchant. There's the Crater as well. Streak's got to be the difference maker here. Needs to find a way to find a little bit of consistency in either the KOing or the midfield, and both are looking too difficult at the moment here. Merchant with the long drive-by, unable to find the barrier on the other end, but there's the hot shot. There's the X Factor. Maybe could be a win condition here, but that's going to require Merchant to be a solo carry once again, or maybe Dropletto with the 3 strike wars in a row against the enemy midfielder.
Yeah, no, that'll put anybody in a good position to score, especially with shape-shifting needling in on Streak with the Supernova, which means Streak's life gets saved, and then they find a KO on kickoff here, but Dropletto is immediately shredded, has to burn the flip here just to stay alive to make sure that the maddening descent from 3Z doesn't take him out, which means that Bozo Bunch actually don't even get much off of that early point power play. Luckily, though, Dropletto has plenty of stagger now, can stay alive, but with no siphoning wand procs there, it's only going to be a matter of time before he's down playing his life once more. The Firewall Sentry, plus an onslaught of abilities from the other 2 members of soondubu, will take him out, and it seems like it's just a permanent power play for them, Saya.
Yeah, they're finding consistency here, but Streak and Merchant get enough hit stun to send it around, and Merchant, a perfect flip opportunity here, waits out 3Z as well, make sure that barrier isn't taken just yet, and the rocket to the other side of the world, not an angle to score, but an angle to stall out, and that's what Merchant needs, just a little bit of space at the moment. Dangerous spot to be in for Merchant, though, as the Luna with dash already gone, with rockets already gone, with barrier taken, and Grimella setting up. 3Z Breezy in position, not KO just yet, and those KOs are looking too difficult to find for the Bozo Bunch as a staggered 3Z soars in for the goal.
I'll say it, that was a clean point from soondubu, through and through, from the consistent power plays into that closing play. I thought, you know, sending it down on that lower border where 3Z Breezy gets all of the room in the world in the middle of the goal box was very smart. And as he confirms Dropletto off the side once more, it's quite possible that soondubu are about to do a replication, an encore of their performance last point, as they get yet another power play.
What a rocket by Merchant, though, perfectly angled to find the barrier. All they need now is one good pass to Dropletto, who's in position as the X Maximus pops it a little early here and strikes a little early as well against the Supernova. There's the core once again. Dropletto setting it up, trying to find a way to streak, but the path is completely blocked. There's no road here. It's just not being found here for the Bozo Bunch. They aren't setting anything up. They need a miracle from Merchant, and there it is. Ego strike warring a 1v1, and it's 2-1 for the Bozo Bunch. 1 point to keep their dreams afloat.
Yeah, once more Merchant being the savior, the one thread holding on. I mean, we had such high hopes for this Bozo Bunch comp, but I mean, look at this. Dropletto already completely torn to shreds. He's gonna die here shortly because 3Z is playing Kazan. Billion kill confirms here. Streak has no evade. It's once more Merchant's game to save. Luckily, no flips on the side of soondubu, so he won't have to deal with any of those. But Merchant's actually just walking up to the midfield. He gets the barrier all on his own. He's boosting in. He has the core flip here. Rockets has the flip here. Both of his teammates are back. Sends it down to Streak. Streak dribbling up, trying to set up Dropletto here. Shotguns it to the top. The Rocket can't find it quite. Glitch Pop saves it, but Dropletto just strikes it right in. That's a set for the Bozo bunch!
It's all Merchant, it's all Merchant. When Streak and Dropletto are dead, when they're dying, when they can't find a play, it's all Merchant. First pick in the draft, and there's the adrenaline rush, there's the stinger. It's a very scary draft for everyone involved. Oh, and it feels so bad if you're the Luna, right? Because you're not the best supplier of stinger, but you... Oh, but stinger going to the Vice is gonna hurt. And if... Oh, it's heavy. Okay, well...
yeah,
you know what?
It's not the worst draft.
I think this is a pretty good draft for Bozo, actually, honestly. Because even though it's heavy impact over device, even though that's an insane awakening, the way the awakenings pan out is not the worst. Definitely not the worst.
Yeah, definitely
It could have been worse.
That being said, those cyber swipes are going to hurt from Grimella. And 3Z getting extra survivability as well as being able to deny it away is unfortunate. But how much survivability really is it when this is a Stinger Siphoning Wand X? This might actually be the X scaling finally coming through for Dropletto. If he can just land a few abilities, you get torn through as soondubu. Even though they're in a power play right now, like, there goes 3Z, and that's an ad rush proc for Merchant. Bozo Bunch are actually looking like they have a real chance to bring this back.
But they need to find consistency is the main issue with them right now, right? They have very high highs. They have lots of bursts. They have that stinger damage. They have the Merchant highlights, but they do not have the consistency at the moment. Their KO confirming is not looking good. And take a look at soondubu. They're confirming their KOs left and right. They got the Kazan. They got the cyber swipes, the glitch pops. They got everything, but they don't got Merchant. And Merchant's looking for the 1v3. Stalls out enough of the point for double respawn to come in while all alone. It's all Merchant all day.
I'm absolutely here for the Merchant show. I'm convinced of it that the value and the potential of the Bozo Bunch goes up tenfold when both Streak and Dropletto are dead. See, look, they're alive and the point is lost. If Streak and Dropletto are dead there, Merchant scores.
Yeah, it's so tough. It was so close too, right? Merchant saving the 1v3 situation. But the issue is they just don't have enough control. They're a comp that needs to be getting the KOs more frequently, but they're not getting the KOs more frequently. They're not finding the confirms. And of course, when it comes to pure scoring, of course you'll prefer Kazan and Ayami over X and Drakkar. And when that happens, your comp has been completely outclassed at the moment in the game itself. There's one barrier take at the very least. And Merchant looking for two, finds two. How does he do it?
How does he do it? He keeps finding the little momentary cracks, and with this hot shot, he's able to send it so fast that Grimella and Shapeshifting can't even respond to it. The Rockets once more sending it wide. Grimella looking worse for wear here, but 3Z gets the core, barely misses the corner there, goes for a second one, misses the corner again. Merchant's able to catch it. Streak coming up now, contesting Grimella. Grimella actually doing a little bit of a fear evade there, afraid for his life. The boost comes in, Merchant looking for another one here. The Rocket blocked by Grimella there. Nuke comes out, but 3Z eventually will find it in the corner. That's match point and series point for the soondubu Strikers.
It's just not enough. They just don't have enough control. Maybe they should play triple defense and try to get Merchant just clip farming, because that's looking like a higher success rate right now. The Bozo Bunch, it's not working out, this composition for them. The control coming out from the soondubu Strikers is making sure that the core is not in their hands. Not enough for them to really get anything rolling here. And most importantly, they just don't have the kill confirms.
Yeah, the kill confirms are hard to come by. And 3Z, it seems, is marking Merchant a little bit in this final set. Really getting up in his face. We see him force out the flip there with the quick leverage. And if he continues to do that, Merchant is not going to get nearly as many of these insane opportunities. That being said, Merchant burns Shapeshifting's flip on the other side of the map. Dropletto okiing away Shapeshifting. If he can find the kill here, Bozo Bunch once more have a hope at finding another point. Shapeshifting evades the... Oh no, that's a barrier take from 3Z and Grimella. 3Z closing in here with the flip. He grabs it. Merchant sword angles it. 3Z went for the ego strike, the reaction check, but you can't reaction check a legend like that. Merchant's here to respond, and they find the barrier.
Good shotgun by Streak, and Merchant's coming in. He's looking for the play, but the strikes just aren't there from Drop. There's the hot shot. Streak trying to send it forward, and Drop this time with the flick to the top side. Doesn't miss the second time around. And somehow Bozo are living, but it's feeling a little bit like false hope. I'm not a believer just yet.
Yeah, you know what? Show me one more point, and I'll get my hopes up. Show me one more Merchant clip, and I'll get my hopes up. Some nice little rotations there from Merchant and Streak, keeping it out of 3Z's hands and keeping both barriers alive. Grimella is at half stagger here, and with a Stinger and Siphoning Wand proc on him, he's not going to be at any semblance of stagger for much longer. Luckily, Shapeshifting has the orb back there. Dropletto in the center of them, exactly where this X wants to be. Finds the second barrier. Streak almost KO'd here. Gets taken out. Tries to cockroach on the side there, but the boost! I'm a believer, Saya! I'm a believer!
He's scaling as the game goes on. He knows that he is the win condition, and Merchant is getting it done. The energy situation looking good for the Bozo Bunch as well, but Streak is dangerously low at the moment. Has an evade, but there's a crater. If they can get damage on Grimella, that could be the difference, but these supernovas have gotten so much value. They take out Grimella. There's the power play, but Streak is so incredibly low. If they can convert the KO onto Shapeshifting and Drop does, we're gonna head to another set unless 3Z finds a miracle, and he does not. Somehow we're on a fifth set, and it was all Merchant. And a little bit of Dropletto and a little bit of Streak, but all Merchant.
The Merchant show. I mean, I use the phrase well-deserved set MVP all the time. It doesn't do it justice. That's perhaps the most deserved set MVP of all time. Holy crap. And Twin Drive, he's going for even more clip farms. And I absolutely think that's the right play. Twin Drive here on Merchant's Luna is going to be so valuable. Unfortunately, once more, not too much left here for Streak at the back of the draft. Both brawlers will pick up some size. Grimella also picking up size in the form of Recovery Drone. Arguably the best size awakening this patch, because it prevents one power play, and power plays happen all the time here. But Streak will go for Team Player, which when comboed with that Drakkar secondary is going to be an extra burst of momentum that the Bozo Bunch did not have before. So even as Merchant gets OK'd here by 3Z, but I mean,
he pressed the button.
Merchant says, "You can't kill me, I'm gonna kill you!"
Wait, 3Z was in a bait state. He pressed the button way too early, I think. Oh, that is not a KO that you'd like if you're the soondubu strikers, but 3Z's back and Merchant's in trouble. And there's Grimella to confirm the barrier take. There's Grimella in position with the passing plays with 3Z Breezy, but it's a Merchant when you need him most with the hot shot, with the twin drive. And what a disgusting combo for clip farming, right? It's hot shot and twin drive, everything that he needs to score.
He can't be stopped. How many of these goals have been scored by Merchant? How many of these barriers have been taken by Merchant? And he gets another one right off the bat. Oh, and he gets two more right off the bat.
His own barriers count too, because he
gets it!
The 3 for 4 on these barriers at this point. That's crazy right now as Dropletto is in there. Uh-oh, Merchant has the boost though. That's the power of the twin drive. That's the power of the hot shot. Has plenty of uptime on the boost. The one weakness of... Okay. Well. Man. Oh, good. Go next.
Unfortunate. But we're tied up. We're tied up here. And you know what? Streak still has one prize fighter stack, which is more than we can say about the rest of this game. That dude has not gotten any benefit from that awakening this entire match. 3Z has to burn the flip here in the supernova. Smartly, both brawlers focusing pretty heavily on the enemy goalies this set, but Dropletto does get killed. Gets punished for it very hard, and as both barriers go down for the Bozo Bunch, it's looking scary here, Saya.
Yeah, and Shape's positioning a lot better against Merchant as well, but there's a good setup from Merchant to guarantee a barrier take, and Streak's in position a little bit too hasty on the shotgun. Merchant trying to find something on the other end of it. but not quite. There's Grimella in position with the extra long cyber swipe into the glitch pop. What a textbook goal from Grimella. And that's one goal away for the soon-to-be Strikers to advance to 4-3, to advance the Tide for second in the standings here.
Yeah, I glanced away from my screen for a second, and Streak used secondary, and I thought he died. But no, actually, it's 3Z that's dead right now. It's a power play for the Bozo Bunch. Once more, trying to hold on to their hopes here. One barrier each for them, and Dropletto is in there. This is the corner offense that Bozo Bunch really want right now. Looking like a reprisal of their former season versions. But oh no, Streak being KO'd once more. Dropletto finds a solo barrier though, and there's two flips here for Bozo Bunch to have an opportunity, and 3Z can't get through Dropletto. Here comes Merchant with the boost. Can't find the goal though.
Yeah, but they stall out perfectly, right? The barrier not taken just yet, and they don't even have to spend a flip to do it, but that might come back to bite them here. 3Z Breezy is looking scary to get it around him as Merchant goes in, flips for it, but blocked away by Grimella, and now Bozo are in full panic mode. Grimella has so much agency now, but they take out 3Z Breezy to the bottom side, accelerating the core forwards for the moment, and Streak to drop, okay, Streak to the air, to the top of the goal, perfectly placed for the goal with the team player. And now in this 5th point, I'm a little worried for the Bozo Bunch. They got no evades.
5th point, 5th set, but there's been so many miracles here. I'm not counting them out yet. They might be a little behind right here, but that supernova doesn't hit any of them. They're looking fine for the time being. Grimella's flip burned there, and though Dropletto is dead, they've still got Merchant to get through.
Uh-oh, but there's the flip.
Uh-oh.
There's shapeshifting, and there's Grimella. Merchant on death's door. Not long for this world as 3Z Breezy goes in. The evade used, barely surviving his Merchant, and he's going to have to make a hero play. Has to boost forward, but is taken down without the hero goalie. They're going to be in a lot of trouble here. The barrier denied by Grimella. 3Z Breezy in position. Streak still making the saves, lock and load, but there's the timer running out. There's the supernova, and the soondubu Strikers will take this series.
I mean, I'm happy for soondubu, but that is our tragic hero Merchant. I mean, we've got to give this guy props. I can't give him props enough for the incredible plays that game. But at the end of the day, soondubu recognized the power of Merchant, and they realized that if they could remove that power, they could close out the game. So smart play by them, removing this 268, most redirects in the lobby, most saves in the lobby, scored 3 goals, probably had most of the barriers on his team, Merchant. Absolute insanity. But when you've got one Merchant versus a whole team of DUBUs, what can you do?
Yep. And that was an incredible solo performance, but soondubu Strikers, you talked about mid-season slump, right? They looked really coordinated. They looked on form.
They did.
They looked pretty good, I gotta say.
Yeah, I was impressed, especially that game. I felt like, they had cracks that Merchant was, taking advantage of, but for the overwhelming majority of those points, I agree. I think they felt really strong. I think Grimella was setting up fantastic spot stuns for 3Z and Shapeshifting to capitalize on. I liked most of Shapeshifting's teleports forward to support on the offense. I thought 3Z was doing his job wonderfully, marking the people that he needed to. I thought that, when the damage was being dished out by Shapeshifting and Grimella, he did a wonderful job confirming those KOs. Got 8 of them that game. So certainly a strong performance from soondubu and a well-deserved win from them. And that puts them in pretty high hopes for finishing out the regular season strong before we head into playoffs.
Yeah, and with that, we're going to be heading on over to the post show before too long. It might have been an all-pro Merchant performance, but it was a soondubu Strikers sweep in the end of it all. And we're gonna hear from some of the players that won in the post show, so don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the post show. We're here with the winners from today. First of all, most valuable sub, Frightfully Fresh. I guess you had a big win today over Showtime, and making a case for you as the most valuable sub. How does it feel?
It feels pretty good. I think I have more wins than the starter roster. I just want to start with that. And also, at some point in time during the drafting, Fudgy said, "Hey, what if I pick Era here?" And I told him that if he locks in Era, I'm just going to leave. And I was serious. If he locked in Era, I was just going to get up, turn my computer off, and walk away.
Yeah, I can definitely believe that. But speaking of teams that okay, well, I can't make this comparison. You know what? Gramella, you're up next. You just got off a win against the Bozo Bunch, and although Merchant was clip farming, your team looked like you were in control for basically all of it. How'd you do it?
We did a lot of prep this week. I scrimmed for like 2 or more hours of the patch every day since it dropped. I really, really wanted to know like the exact hierarchy of what was good and what was bad, and I think we had a better read than them. And so that let us always be in control of like the very pivotal damage battle that is going on in this patch. Um, and we made some mistakes playing around Luna both games, but also Merchant, like he only could have punished those mistakes by playing kind of like perfectly in those situations, and he did every time. So we got clip farmed by that guy. He is so good. We have all the we were just like in there saying like, all right, like kill Drakkar, and then we would get beat by Luna. We say, wow, this guy's so good, and then we'd say kill Drakkar, and that was kind of like the whole match for us.
Yeah, and it ended up working out. Leo Leon, chosen by the wheel. Well, were you actually chosen by the wheel?
Like, yeah, like I got asked to be on, and just to make sure, just to like get the picture, because I gotta appease the wheel gods. Like, I did get chosen, sadly, but I have like 5 entries, bro. Like, if I don't get chosen, it's insane.
Yeah, I guess in your match, it went to a game three with a circumstance that was out of your hands. How'd you lock back in for that third game?
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. After I DC'd on Atlas Lab and I realized I couldn't come back, I just walked around. I ate some food, drank some water, pet my dog, and I'm like, all right, just whatever. It happens. It's chill. We get to play Amy's now. All good. But yeah, I mean, I just calmed down. I was really pissed because I've been having some internet issues. Gorilla knows Gorilla knows what's up. Gorilla knows what's up. But yeah, I've been having some internet issues. Hopefully, it clears up by next week. But yeah, I mean, if it happens, it happens. We lock back in. All good. Eat food, drink water, pet dog.
Yep. Well, and now Bells, 2-0 over Eris Kitten Club, where people were saying, "Oh, this is an EKC patch," but maybe when everyone does damage, EKC isn't so special. How'd you just get a dominant win there?
I'm not gonna lie, this patch just feels like whatever NASL 3 was, but everyone's slow and it takes a lot less skill to play. And uh, I think Kainu back then was also really good at damage, so it just all was pretty natural to us. No matter how bad this patch is, I think if we continue to play on it, Hug's gonna be pretty dominant no matter what.
Mm-hmm. And I guess taking a look at the brawler picks on this map, on this patch so far, there's been a lot of different ones, right? The Drakkar, the Kazan. I guess starting with you, Gramella, uh, taking a look at the Kazan on this patch, do you think that he's especially good with the siphoning changes?
Yeah, I think Kazan was already like had a place last patch. Like we just hadn't figured out what it was. But this patch, it's so obvious and so simple, like what is going to succeed for him. And since everyone's really slow, and since there's no like significant knockback KOs, the only way to KO people is to stagger them fully. And Kazan is the best character in the game at killing staggered targets because he has like a billion different kill confirms built into his kit. And then if he gets prime time, he's got a billion more. So with Wand, and as long as your teammates can stagger them, and then if you dump your cooldowns on people, you can also contribute to that, then you kind of just end up in game states like we ended up in today, where we would stagger someone, 3Z would just kind of chase them around for a while, and eventually they would die, and we would use the power play to try and score.
I guess Bells as well. What are your thoughts on the brawlers on this patch?
My thoughts on the brawlers this patch is that we need to stop giving brawler players places on the patch team. Get them out of there, please. Put Odyssey Wallaby back in there fast so that we can get a good patch again. I'm losing my mind playing these games. It's so bad. I hate this meta so much. I'd rather play Atlas now again.
All right, and as another brawler, Leo, any thoughts?
I mean, my boy said it the best. I have nothing else to say.
All right, and for a completely different topic, Fresh, can you make your case for most valuable substitute over Kainoob right now?
All right, so game one or week one, we played against Demons Raw, and you had Gumi playing in the net and Fudgy playing in midfield, and they got stomped. And then we swapped it up. Gumi played midfield, and I played goalie, and we won. And then Fudgy went into the net, and Gumi played midfield, and then they won their next week. So not only am I winning my games, but I also demonstrated to my team how to play better and win more. It's so simple. You know, Kainu, you expect him to win, but like I'm teaching players how to do better. So I think that's exactly why I should be most valuable sub.
All right, and with that, I guess a round of shoutouts, and then we'll disappear. Romella, any shoutouts?
Yeah, I want to shout out Boxcard for giving this fresh guy so much confidence. You know, that guy's my favorite person on planet Earth. I brought it up on the pre-show today for those that are in the know. Shout out to Hungry Like Nephew for kind of abusing. Excited to see them maybe do that again in the future. Maybe not. We'll see how they're feeling. And shout out to the soondubu strikers. We're scaling. We're finally scaling.
All right, Leo, you're up next. Who are you shouting out?
All right. First of all, gotta shout out Hook. He was supposed to play today, but some scheduling issues, mostly on my end, kind of like messing things up. So, my bad, young Hookathy. Hopefully, he had a good day with some good food and a good night's sleep. Second, Moffin and Jay. I mean, those guys popped off so hard, especially Moffin on the Amy's game. Like it was just crazy. I was pretty confident going into Amy's app, and that guy just like he just did Moffin things. But his birthday is in like a month, so he's gonna lose all his superpowers soon. He's not gonna be a young man anymore, unfortunately. And then yeah, everyone who scrimmed us, the people who rang for us, and a final shout out from Average Alex to Young Hungry Boy. That bastard left the moment his stupid awakenings became meta, and he's gonna come back and it's all gonna get nerfed. You know, so thank you, Hungry Boy, and make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, July 13th, 7 p.m. ET for Carrot Clash. Woo!
Wahoo! Bells, any shoutouts?
Shout out my teammates for playing well in this awesome patch. Shout out soondubu strikers for putting a spy in the Odyssey team so we can have a horrendous patch. Shout out 3Z Breezy, that's you. Shout out Snake for trying to have a good time and filling in for Leo Leon yesterday after he was teleporting all the way across my screen. And shout out Caleb for the vibes. That's it.
All right, and Fresh. And any closing words and shoutouts?
Shout out Gumi's parents for enabling me to play this week, because that's all I want to do is I want to play this game. I'm looking for a team. Hit me up. That's it.
Right, and with that, thanks everyone for watching yet another week of the North American Strikers League. There's 2 more weeks left in the season, and then we'll be heading over to playoffs. Don't forget to check out Fresh's favorite game having a tournament tomorrow, Carrot Clash, the Umumusume tournament with over 130 entrants, but that's about it. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good night.